What's good, y'all? Kalen here, aka Not Like the Prophet, here for another video with y'all. Today we're looking at a song called Genesis that I released in 2018.
To all the people that figured that I was out the game. To all the people that figured that I forgot his name.
So the way Genesis started, back in 2016, Andy Mineo did this contest for his record Uncomfortable, which came out the year before. And basically, he released the stems for all the songs on that project. And everybody was, able to create a submission, which was like a remix of one of the songs, and then submit it for consideration. I did it as well. I didn't win the contest, but I still went for it. And I chose the title track of that album, Uncomfortable, to work with.
Nobody told me you could die like this. Nobody told me you could die from bliss, yeah.
Some elements I would highlight before we get into the actual Genesis track. I like a lot about that song and the beat especially, and so I tried to emulate a lot of the different things that he was doing, but my idea was like, let me take some of the pieces that I like and then rework them, and then I'll build around that. So the first thing I really was into was that keyboard. So I used that and came up with this keyboard section. So same progression more or less, but yeah, just did my own spin on it, made it more major key because I wanted it to feel kind of more positive. Because again, the song is saying that like nobody told me you could die from bliss, and so like what does bliss sound like instrumentally and melodically, and so I tried to capture that with the way I did my remix. So again, I didn't win, and again, if you want to hear the full remix that I did, it's on my other channel, which I will link in the description. But I didn't win the contest, but I did get a really cool beat out of it, and so I was like, even when I submitted it, I was like, if I don't win this, I'm still going to use this song for myself, and I did. And so that introductory part of the song was the vibe. Let me see if I can solo these out. So very orchestral. Something else about Genesis. So once I knew that this was going to be my song, my intention was like, again, and this is to give more context, Genesis itself is a compilation record that contains 3 songs from each of the 3 projects I released prior to Genesis. So I had a record called The Enemy Inside, one called The Outcast, and another called Hills and Valleys. They all came out like 2 years apart, and I basically took the 3 top songs from each of those projects, and those were the ones that ended up on Genesis. So I had these 9 songs from my previous works, and I needed a song to kind of introduce and usher people into that project. And so Genesis was meant to function as like that introduction, both for those that were new to my content and music, and those that were also kind of like visiting, coming back after having heard the stuff I released in high school. With that said, my idea, as production-wise, was like, I gotta give everybody the best of what I have, and so like, if I had one song to capture what people can expect from me from a production standpoint, a lyrical standpoint, melodic standpoint, sonic standpoint, like I gotta give it all in this one song. And so, the introduction section of the song kind of represents the more melodic and like positive, hopeful side of my music that you'll hear in songs like Rise Up, Greater, You Alone. Like that's kind of what this vibe is. A lot of synths, a lot of positive keyboard, strings, all that stuff. But then like when it came to the aggressive, gritty side of things, I really wanted to push that as well. So that's where you get this like this electric guitar, and then even further like with this stuff. So that's basically the building blocks of the initial parts of the song, the introductory section, and then also the verse. Some other things to note for the chorus section. Initially, again, this was an Andy Mineo remix. So the initially the indie Mineo remix side of it, the hook was basically, I think it was just like the verse section with a couple other elements added. So the uncomfortable remix side of it was basically I just took the verse progression and instruments and just added some more drums, some more sounds to it. Nothing super special. But for Genesis, I actually reached back. So this goes back to 2012. When I was wrapping up The Enemy Inside, I did this thing back in the day where I'd be working on one project. I guess I kind of still do it now, where I would be like working on one project, and as I'm wrapping that one up, I would start the next project in the middle of that process. And so while I was working on The Enemy Inside, wrapping it up in 2012, I also was beginning the Outcast. And there was a track on the Outcast at that time. It didn't make it to the final product, but at that time I had a song called the Outcast Anthem that I actually had I think I wrote all of it at some point, and I had multiple versions of it written, but didn't release it because it just didn't fit the vibe of the product or the project by the time I got to it, the end of it. But it was on YouTube. The Outcast Anthem was on YouTube, and essentially for Genesis, what I did, I took the instrumentation and the melodies of the chorus or hook section of that song and just brought it in and transposed it. So the Outcast Anthem has this like na 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 na. Yeah. So that was the Outcast Anthem. But like I said, what I did, and what I like about that too, and I carried this over, the hook shows up like 3 times in the song, and each subsequent time, there's like additional instruments playing the same melody. So by the end of the song, there's this big stack of sound that's all these instruments playing the same melody, and it makes for a really epic sound. And again, I wanted to carry that over into Genesis. And so I took the same melodies and I did the same thing where I stacked all these different instruments. So synthesizers, there's like it's not an organ. Oh, there's an organ. There's an organ, the synthesizer. They're like bells. There's like this cool like game sounding synth, and it's all stacked together. So it makes it for this really like epic sound at the end of the song. And so I'm gonna do it the way I like to do it, where I'll start it and just kind of play each instrument so you can hear the full scope of the sounds. So anyway, that's kind of the main thing, dude. I feel like, I guess lyrically, to talk more about the lyrics, again, the idea was I'm addressing people that followed me back in high school, into college, and then also folks that are just hearing about the fact that I make music. And so I was like, how can I give people a crash course into Not Like the Prophet and what he's about? Also, too, so that was like, with the verses especially, that's kind of the intent. And I think even in the chorus, especially the last one, is literally like to all the people who figured that I was moving on, to all the people who figured that I was out the game. Like, this is my answer to everybody that's like, yo, where's the music at? And so that was the intent there. And again, as well as just showing, like, kind of introducing people to what they can expect from the project and also from my music going forward. And I guess I'll say this, I'll end with this, but something that it was kind of a new thing for this song for me was like really thinking deeply about how I start my songs, specifically from a lyrical standpoint. I actually went back to my previous songs and I would look at like what's the first line, what are the first words you hear, in the song, and just thinking about like, man, this is like, it's really important how you begin and how you end it. But obviously I was like, man, what's the first thing people are going to hear when they hear this track, and like what's setting the tone for this project and for this song. And I was like, I don't want to be a slave. Like that just feels really intense, and it's like, oh shoot, okay, it's like that. And so that was like, I don't want to lose my faith trying to prove myself to every living soul, and in the process lose my own. And initially, like, I had an idea. We didn't execute this, but me and a friend from college, we had a cinematography class together, and he heard this song, and we had all these visions and ideas about how we would try to capture in a music video. Never happened. Mostly, I guess it's mostly on me. I was all over the place with life and work and school, so I just didn't prioritize it. But there was this idea of like this like really playing up the like, I don't want to be a slave aspect of the song, and just like, you've been in chains, but now you like trying to get free, and God's there letting you free, showing you that you're free. And so yeah, man, it's a really cool track. Still one of the top streamed on all my platforms, and I don't know, it's kind of old now, but there's still an idea, like at some point I would love to try to do some kind of music video component for it, maybe if it's just like a reel or something even. But yeah, man, definitely a much beloved song, one that like I feel like it's never out of season. Like I could perform this thing anytime and it's still relevant, it still hits the same way, and it's still just as like true today as it was back in 2018. So that's kind of where we're at with this. Yeah, glad y'all got to check it out, hear how it kind of came about. And again, I'm going to try to do more of these videos going forward, but appreciate y'all for watching, and look out for the next one. Peace.
It's been a minute, I get it, but man, I'm back and I'm mobilized for attack, as I recognize where the battle's at. There's no